Hey Channel Legends, good morning from Tokyo, Japan. It is 8 a.m. I woke up to some amazing news. They are balancing champions. At this rate, we'll have champions balanced once every year. We've got Vizix over here. Don't worry, we're going to jump into the game. We're going to take a deep dive into what each of these do so we can see what the actual change is. Vizix is getting a pretty good change. I'm really happy about that. Whirlum is getting an even better change. I cannot wait to play Whirlum once these changes go in there. Solus is getting his increased speed, which we've needed for so long. We've talked about this forever. Solus is a very good Void legendary champion that needed more speed for sure. Exemplar. This girl got a bit of a change, but it wasn't really the cosmetic change she needed. She is the saddest looking champion in the game. You'll see her in just a minute. They needed to update her cosmetic look because nobody wants to play her off that. She looks completely sad, and with these changes, I'm not sure we're still going to use her. We'll see. Rowan. Finally, Rowan can do poisons. She could never do as good of a poison or as good of a job as Kale before or Aethar, but now it looks like she can. She's actually going to be a good poison debuffer on anything we want to bring her in, and that might be good for us with the new stage 25 if we can do poison explosion. Towering Titan. Towering Titan got changed over to HP based champion. I hope that makes him better. We'll see if it will. He had really high HP before. He keeps that. And then now we're going to be doing damage. They also place a provoke debuff on the first hit. We'll go over these as we look at the change within the champions. Okay, now this one, the Firstborn. This could be huge. If her multipliers stay the same and she gets an AoE on this utter rampage, we're talking about an epic champion that can hit like Trunda. We'll go into more detail. There's a lot of champions that have come out lately that have really high multipliers. Extremely high multipliers on AoE abilities, but their base damage, their base attack would be 800. When you take a base attack 800, you have extremely high multipliers. It's still very average damage. I'm talking average damage across the board. But with her, she has really high attack. And then if she keeps this high multipliers, we are seriously talking about an epic champion that can hit like Trunda's 2 hits. That would be crazy. Broad Maul, if you don't know, you could do a fusion of Broad Maul. I used to not like this champion at all, but now I'm liking him even more. I fell in love with him once I started using him in Lizardman. Do the fusion on Broad Maul if you can do it. This guy is no joke. We got a freeze on the A1. We've got these buffs in here with speed, and now we're getting a turn meter increase to it. Plus, his Resurrect is going down by a turn. If you haven't beaten Lizardman, do Broad Maul. If you're progressing in the game like I am on my free-to-play account, I need to look for that. That's what, you know what? I haven't been paying attention to my Void champions because I've only gotten like 2 of them to make sure I could do this fusion. If I could get Broad Maul in the game right now on my free-to-play, then it's easy. Very easy to do. Bertel Fellhammer, I'm not really sure what these changes are going to do to him, but I do see decreased defense, and that gets me very excited. So with decreased defense in there with whatever moves he has, I think that's going to be a good change. Whisper was already a lot of fun. She's getting a decrease of one of her skills down from 6 to 5 turns, so that's going to be really good. We'll go check that out in just a minute. Right here, we've got some AI fixes. I think you guys went over this yesterday. It just prioritizes about what these champions will do in certain situations. So if you want to read over that, check it out. There wasn't anything that jumped out at me. It was like, wow, I can't believe that was changed, but it might help you out with some damage in certain dungeons or the clan boss. New dungeon stage 25. They're talking about limiting the HP by 10% of the boss if you're doing damage based off of max HP. We already knew this. Also, turn meter decrease by half. So we'll have to see if poison explosion will still work. Don't be fooled. Sometimes they put this in on the slide and you don't know about it. Like they're not stating it right here. All the information, just like a lot of the bosses in the Doom Tower, they are limited by poison explosion. Some are, some take like 90% less poison ticks, which is really crazy, and you don't see that anywhere. I've confirmed it myself with the devs, up to a difference of maybe 60% less damage or 10% less damage on poison ticks. And you won't know unless you test it out. So we're going to have to see when we test this out to see how well it is. Our favorite that we think is going to be like a Trunda. Do you guys hear that? Like a Trunda. We're talking about an epic champion that can hit an AoE move, maybe like a Trunda. We'll see. Solus, we just got done talking about how they slightly decreased his multiplier on there. There's no talk about multiplier change on this. So look at Utter Rampage. We've got her A1. Her A1's going to stay the same. This Utter Rampage, instead of attacking one person and then doing this other damage to everybody else, which isn't a lot of damage, we've done a guide on her at max level, maxed out with really good gear. Now the skill reworks. Attacks all enemies. We have a 75% chance to place a decreased attack debuff, cooldown for 4 turns. So it's going to be on 3-turn cooldown after that. Skill upgrade is going to be 10% damage, 10% damage. Look at this. 10% damage, 10% damage. We've got debuff chance, so 100% chance to apply decreased attack, cooldown by 1. So it's going to be a 3-turn cooldown with a 20% additional damage, which is great. And they didn't say anything about changing her multipliers. Let's get over here to her multipliers. We've got her pulled up right there. You can see that her multiplier is the 5.9 of attack. You see that? Other champions have been coming out with really high multiplier, 6.6 and stuff of attack on an AoE, but their attack is way, way low. So it's just medium damage. It's just very, very average. But with her, if they keep this, she's going to do Trunda damage. Her attack is 1,343. Not the 1,500 I would like, but we're still talking high damage. Okay, maybe not Trunda's 2 hits, but close. It's definitely going to be a very hard-hitting AoE champion for Arena, getting more attack-based champions that hit very hard. Of course, she's going to be fragile. She's got really low HP. She actually has good defense, and her speed isn't way up there like Trunda. She doesn't have all of Trunda's stats. At least she has 60% critical damage. I'm excited. We're going to see some big hits from her. This is no joke. Visix. Now she's getting an increased turn meter decrease and turn meter steal on her A1, which is great, but we're limiting a lot of bosses out there about how much turn meter we can do. So now that we're doing even more turn meter reduction on each of these hits, it's going up to 15% from 10%. That's 30% total. That might really just be 15% because she's going to get that hit by half on some of these bosses. And then she's only still going to steal then, I would assume, 15, since that's all she's actually reducing. Maybe she's going to get the full 30 turn meter. Either way, it's definitely an improvement on this beautiful beast that we've needed improved for a very long time. Over here, she does AoE, decrease slow speed, and then we have the shield she puts on herself by 20%. Now, this one is getting changed. No longer have a shield on her, but we're going to do Ally Protect for 2 turns, which is very strong. A 2-turn Ally Protect on a 3-turn cooldown along. She's still going to do this AoE. Okay, so she's going to do AoE damage, decrease speed, and then put Ally Protect on all of us for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown of 50%. This is strong. This is really strong to get through the Doom Tower, to slow everybody down, and to protect all your people, and could really work for you on some bosses. It depends. Some of these bosses out there hit so hard that if you have Ally Protect up, it could really hurt. Clan Boss, though, this could help you out, right? Anything with Ally Protect and Clan Boss really helps you get further in the waves. But the rest of her kit, let's see what she's got here. Single combat. So now it's redesigned to attack all enemies instead of one, and then provoke debuff for 1 turn. Places a shield buff equal to 20% of her max HP. So now we've got a 3-turn cooldown of an AoE provoke, and then she gets a shield. Wow. Okay, what's not to love about it? This girl is going to be great. I love the changes. I love it. Her stats are amazing. Everything about her is going to be amazing. So we get an AoE Ally Protect with AoE damage and slow speed. We get an AoE Provoke with then putting up a shield on her of 20% of her max HP, and we get more turn meter reduction. Fantastic. Whirlum. I am excited about Whirlum. So we go over here. We've had Whirlum for a very long time from the, what was it, Battle Pass? The very first Battle Pass. His A1 can freeze here at a 50% chance, just like Sir Nick, but this is not irresistible. Sir Nick's is irresistible, didn't really change much. It just says this effect, Veil buff on the ally with the lowest HP for 1 turn if the target resists the freeze. Additionally, the duration of perfect Veil buff, if freeze was applied, has been increased to 2 turns. So not a big change there, don't really care about that too much. This one I love. This Frostbite Blast. Effect place a 50% decrease accuracy debuff along with a 30% decrease critical damage debuff. These debuffs cannot be resisted. 3-turn cooldown to put 2 turns of decreased accuracy of 50%. Very, very strong. AoE move. This move hits hard. It's a very good move on a 3-turn cooldown, and you're decreasing their critical damage. So great. Whirlum is coming up in the world, especially because of this A3. Now, this has always been on a 4-turn cooldown. It's been too long for a legendary champion. But they had him in the Battle Pass. They're like, if we're giving you something in the Battle Pass, this is the company, right? We're always going to make it a crappy legendary champion, or we're going to make it so it's just not that useful, that it's okay. So now they're coming back around and they're saying, all right, this will be on a 3-turn cooldown. Now, you might not think that's a lot, but it is. A strengthened 25% less damage plus increased defense on a defense-based champion, or just even on your attack-based champions, on everybody out there, taking 25% less damage plus mitigating damage even further with an increased defense of 60% is huge for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. This champion is very viable now in a lot of things in the game. So look forward to using Whirlum. His stats are amazing as well. We're going to get over to Solus really quick. There's not much to say about Solus like we said before. He is just has a speed increase, which we've needed this. Solus is actually a very good champion, but his speed has been at 87. Now we're going to go up to 97. They said his defense is going to be decreased. Defense increased by 120 points. Okay, and then his attack will decrease. It doesn't matter. He does nothing off of attack. And then it says that the Wave of Despair, this one, will do less damage. Multipliers slightly decrease to fit the defense stat. The defense stat's only going up by 120. But regardless, this is a good change for Solus. I still don't think we're going to see tons of play with him, especially in something like Platinum Arena, although he is viable there. But a very good champion. So don't feel bad if you get him. He can help you throughout the game a lot. Now, the reason why we mention slightly decreased multipliers here, I'm glad they said that because they didn't say anything about multipliers being decreased for the Firstborn, which we'll get into her in just a minute. Let's go look at Exemplar. I think she's here, right? Where is Exemplar? She's over, was she not Knights Revenant? Exemplar, no, High Elves, right? High Elves. Yeah, she's just the saddest looking High Elf we have ever seen in our life. Look at that. God, what are you doing, Exemplar? They did not fix the cosmetic, the biggest thing they should have fixed. So her High Stance Ascension. High Stance Ascension, what is that? What is that? This one? So now she's got an Ascension. If the first hit is critical, it will increase one of the target's skill cooldowns chosen at random by 2 turns. If the target is under weakened debuff at this time, it will increase the skill cooldown to its max. That is actually really strong on an A1. This is her A1 that as long as she critical hits, she's going to randomly push back their skills by 2 turns. And then if they have the weaken on, she's going to push back their skill to the max. One random skill though. But that's every time on her A1. Her A2 over here is going to get debuff chance increased to 75. So her debuff chance on this is finally going to go to 100%. She's still going to attack 3 times at random, but it's going to be at 100% on a 2-turn cooldown to apply this weaken. Wow, finally. Why does it take so long? Why does it take so long? Capture. Cooldown decreased to 4 turns from 5. So now it's going to be on a 3-turn cooldown that she'll do this, do a freeze debuff, and block skill cooldowns. So if we come up with anything fun with this lady, it's going to be based off of her A1 for sure. So we'll see what we can do with that. Now, Rowan. I have wanted Rowan to place poisons. Like, that's it. I just wanted a Void champion that you could get as an epic that would just place the damn poisons. And always, she was just like Kale at first. She had a lower one than this. They buffed her before. They buffed her, I don't know, a year ago or so. She had a lower chance to apply than Kale did, or the same as Kale on his A3. And then, of course, we got Aethar out there as another epic that could apply poisons at random, and it was fine. Now, look at her. She's finally going to have a 100% chance to apply poisons. That's the only change they made on her. That's the only change we needed. 3-turn cooldown to apply 4 poisons. I'm excited about this. We can use this on a lot of places in the game. Obviously, for the clan boss, she's got really low defense. If that's all you got, that's all you got. But we can use her in other areas. So that way, when we get to bosses, we get a chance to stun here. We get a chance to do damage based off of attack and speed and heal reduction. At least when we come to other bosses in the game, we can try her out. Is that going to make her like an amazing epic? I don't think so, but I'm excited to play her. Towering Titan. What is this guy? Knights Revenant, Ghouls, Ogren Tribe. Okay. Ogren Tribe, Towering Titan. Decreased defense on the A1. We love it. Flailing Assault. Damage will be based off of HP. Attacks 4 times at random. Places a provoke debuff on the first hit. Has an additional 50% chance to place a provoke debuff on subsequent hits. So not a lot of change on this ability. We've got Bullish Vitality here. This one, what did it change? Shield duration increased to 3 turns when ascended. The skill will grant the champion an extra turn. Did it grant him an extra turn before? Whoa. Okay, 4-turn cooldown. We're going to get increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. Place a continuous heal buff on this champion for 2 turns. As well as a shield buff on this champion of 30% of his max HP for 2 turns. And now that's going to be 3 turns. Plus he's going to get an additional turn immediately. That's actually really strong on this guy. 4-turn cooldown to get an additional turn. To lower this even lower, it's on a 3-turn. Decrease defense here. Provoke here. And he does some cool stuff. This guy can hit right now. Let's see if he can hit when he turns to HP. I hope so. His A1 is going up to 35% from 25%. We get an additional chance to freeze on the A1. That is a very strong ability. Over here, we get the increased crit rate, increased speed, but now we're going to get a turn meter increase of 15% on a 3-turn cooldown. And then his resurrection is going from a 7 to a 6. So it's going to be a 4-turn cooldown overall once we get skill books into him. Increase ally defense by 33% in faction wars. That's what he's changing to. Okay, I don't know why we needed that change, but that's cool. Faction Wars, he is so strong for Faction Wars. Do that, he's a permanent fusion. Bertel Fellhammer is a dwarf that doesn't get a lot of play, but he's got a very cool ability to have a counterattack up all the time. Now he's gonna have a change, defense increase, HP slightly decrease. Okay, that's good. His A1 is gonna be adjusted from a 30-40% total once booked out to a 60% chance total. So he's gonna get 10, 10, 10 down here, 60% chance to place his heal reduction, and then the A2 here is going to get a 75% chance to place a 60% decreased defense if there is a heal reduction up. Now, I really don't like that. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, and you don't have a 100% chance to apply. I don't see them talking about him getting 100%. It just says 75%. We don't see any lowers down here to increase this ability, which is very sad. I don't like this. He is an epic champion. He's got a really cool ability here. They're making this stronger. I get that. This decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown for 2 turns should be 100%. Whisper is a fun champion. In Relentless Gear, she is really a fun champion. We'll also apply a 30% crit rate buff. So it's going to attack one enemy, a place to increase attack, but also a 30% increased crit rate, unyielding flurry down by 1 turn. So it's on a 5-turn cooldown. It's going to go to a 4-turn cooldown. Pretty sweet because we get an extra turn. Grants an extra turn if the target is under both of these. It's still kind of hard to play her, right? We got to get those debuffs up. That is it, everyone. I will leave a link to this down below so you can check it all out yourselves. Please subscribe if you haven't. I'm going to see you guys all later on for some Sacred Shard summons on stream. And then I'm also going to get on a little early and stream Summoners Wars Lost Centuria. I think that's the name. It's a new app game that just came out. Looks pretty cool. Completely different than the original Summoners Wars, so I'm excited to try it out. All of you guys have a great day. I will see you all in a video soon.